is Dr. Kat, your favorite sex expert. And I am here with Caitlin V Neal. We just got done recording this epic episode of Eat, Play, Sex podcast where we get into talking about men and their sexuality because we love you men out there and we don't want to leave you out. Everything that's going on, we need you to hear that your experiences you don't have to be stuck feeling the same way that you have for the rest of our lives. So, Caitlin, I'm so happy that you're on this video with me. We'd love to drop in a little bit about bonus material of your personal life. Well, questions about you, but also, like, why do people need to listen to this episode with you?
This episode, we really dive into the challenges around male sexuality that don't get discussed, that are common, that affect a lot of men and a lot of partnerships, and yet there's not a ton of conversation about A, how common they are, but B, more importantly, what to actually do about them. And that includes premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, and also this general fear that is impacting men about being sexually desirous creatures. And in it, we unpack all of that and give some real tangible advice for transforming those challenges if you're experiencing them.
Yeah, because we love our men and we don't want them to feel inhibited or like fearful or afraid that they're going to be perceived as a predator just because they like sex.
Yeah, exactly. We like sex and we like having it with them.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So I always come up with these questions that I love to ask my guests on the show because it gives us a little more tools for our box of how they can help themselves sexually or relationally or nutritionally. So I'm wondering, do you have a favorite mantra or an affirmation about your sex life that you live by personally?
My personal mantra is actually the same mantra in and out of my sex life. So this is something I apply across the board, and that is, you are enough. This is my favorite affirmation. I use it all the time, like countless numbers of times, every single day, whether that's, during a sexual experience where maybe things don't seem to be going the way that I had hoped, or I was not able to reach orgasm, or pleasure seemed a little bit disconnected, right? Like, it's okay. I remind myself that I am enough, and whatever my experience is, whatever's happening is totally okay, totally enough, that I'm worthy inherently, and there's nothing more to do or be.
Oh, I love that one. Wow. And what about a song on your sex playlist?
So I have so many different flavors of sex playlist because I love music. It's very like erotic and pleasurable for me. But I chose a song by Diamond Saints. I apologize. I don't know. It's a diamond?
Yeah.
But it doesn't have an A in it. It's Diamond Saints.
Yeah, I think so.
Diamond Saints. The song is called "Make It Through," and it's like very. It's sensual. It's a little like it's almost throbbing in nature, and it's hot. I love this song, and I'm going to be seeing them in just a couple weeks, so I'm very excited to see that live.
Nice.
And it feels in my body, surrounded by thousands of other people.
Sexual fantasy there. And what about a favorite book or a video or a sex resource for our listeners?
So, Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski is hands down my favorite book, especially on female sexuality. So anyone who is female identified, has female partners, is just curious to learn more about arousal in general, there's so much in that book. It's like a treasure trove of sex and sexuality. And if you've already read it, I have a second favorite. But first of all, reread it because it's that good. But there's a lesser known book called Wired for Love by Stan Tatkin. And since I come from a observable science background, I really love this book because he talks about our brain's wiring and how we can be in relationships that serve and are planned or like to the degree possible, honor our real like neurochemistry, our wiring, and it's so cool. It's so eye-opening. It's super fun to read, super easy read. So Stan Tatkin, Wired for Love.
Oh, love it. And what is one thing that helps you turn your sexual desire on?
So if
Besides me.
So if I am solo, if it's just me and I am looking to get turned on and feel desired, then breath. Always the breath, like always starting with the breath, like trying to think about breath as nutrition, right? Something I know that's important to you and this podcast and listeners is like being healthy in the way that we're consuming. And I think it's one thing to look at that for food that seems like an obvious place to start. But if we're not drinking clean water and taking in quality, nutritious breath, then for me, anyways, I have a lot of trouble like getting into an aroused, desirous state if I'm not being like conscious and taking quality air. And so when a partner is involved, though, and it's me and a partner, both giving and receiving massage, and not necessarily erotic massage, not massage with an erotic goal or a goal to be aroused or anything like genital focused or anything like that. Just massage in general, just being pleasurable with each other's bodies, you know, like feeling out really what's going on underneath the surface. There's something incredibly arousing and erotic about that to me.
Oh, I love the way you talk to me. And what about one sex myth that you'd love to bust for everyone out there?
Oh, this is such a good question. There's so many myths.
I know.
So the number one myth that comes up in my work is that taking more time in penetrative sex is always better, right? More stamina, lasting longer is always better. It's not always better. You know, longer does not always equal better. The measure of quality sex that feels filling and lovely and amazing and whatever other things that you're really looking for sex to be for you is not measured in clock time. You know, I've had incredible sex that didn't last very long, and I've had really awful sex that felt like it went on forever. So longer is not always better.
Oh, all right, written note. So this is Caitlin V Neal, and she is on episode 37 of Eat, Play, Sex podcast. So check it out in iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio, all the things. Or you can find out more about her by checking out eatplaysex.com, where I have all the links to her work. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Epic episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was my pleasure.
All right. Until next time, lovers.